Welcome to The Author Next Door, where hosts Angela Haas and Cassie Newell chat about the wild world of writing and publishing. Join them for weekly episodes and special monthly guests. Pull up a chair. The conversation starts now. Welcome to episode 33. I'm Angela Haas, and I'm here with my co-host Cassie Newell. And this month, we're talking all about how to grow your author business. Today, we have a magical guest. We're talking to the inspiring Bryan Cohen. Bryan runs Best Page Forward, a company that helps authors learn, profit, sustain, and scale their author careers. He's helped over 30,000 authors through his ad challenges, and his Sell More Book Show podcast has run every week for over a decade. Bryan's author ad agency manages ads for authors selling millions of dollars in book sales per year. Welcome, Bryan. Thank you so much for being here. This is so exciting.
Thank you guys for having me. I'm excited to be here on the show.
Yes. Awesome. And we want to talk obviously about Best Page Forward, Author Ad School, Groundbreakers. I don't actually know how you sleep and do all that you're doing or eat or basic human needs, but we both are taking part in that program, Groundbreakers and Author Ad School. And one thing that surprised me was I thought it was just all about ads. But when you do your 30-minute coachings, you talk a lot about mindset.
Yes.
And I feel like maybe as authors, that's one of the most important things, whether we're writing or marketing. If our mindset isn't right first, can we truly be that successful?
Yeah, and I've seen authors who were on the verge. Like it seemed like this was going to be the month they were going to get their first $2,500 month or their first $5,000 month. And then it all crapped out. And then 3 months later, they're back down to under 500 a month. And I was just like, why does that happen? Why? And it really comes down to mindset. It comes down to like, it's like this cascading domino effect of, hey, this thing that I thought was going to work went wrong, so I better pull back. Or, things never work out when I try them. I'm just not going to try them anymore. Or like, I think this is perfectly positioned, but this one beta reader gave me feedback and now I'm going to tweak a bunch of stuff and then it's not actually going to be as good as it would have been. And so it's like, there's all these different aspects of an author's mindset that can absolutely impact whether or not they succeed when they have the opportunity to succeed.
I went through that. I mean, that's the whole reason I wanted to start this podcast, because I call it the awkward sophomore year, where you're like, okay, I published a book. Now what? This is so overwhelming. I don't know what to do first. And you try some Facebook ads after I signed up for a Facebook ad class and nothing worked. And how do you not get discouraged? Because I know it's a long game, but when you see so much money going out, not much coming in the beginning, even now I'm about to publish my fourth book. My sales in the summer are so down, and you're like, God, I am trying to do everything, and yet it's not making a difference. So for people in that mindset, how do you keep going? How do you not give up?
Well, I think in your case specifically, I mean, it's like, we don't know if it's not making a difference. We might, if you had a month where you weren't running ads, it's possible that your sales would have been worse than the previous month or worse than 2 months prior. And running the ads has actually gotten you back to where you are normally. And so you look at that and you're like, these aren't doing anything. When in reality, we don't know. And I think that a lot of authors, not just you, like millions of people, are like, kind of assume the worst in a given situation. It's easy to do. I do it too. And I have to work on that every single day of my life to not assume the worst, not assume that, this is the last time this will work, or that thing I used to do doesn't work anymore, or whatever. We don't know. And so when we are putting in that weekly work of making ads or putting in that daily work of writing, it's so easy to think that what we're doing, the little bits that we're putting in, aren't making progress. But sometimes progress is so incremental, we simply can't see it. And we have to trust on faith that the effort we're putting in the right direction, in the right areas, these things are actually making an impact, which is so hard. You almost need to be like a little crazy one way or the other. You either need to be crazy and assume everything's bad or crazy and assume everything's good. But crazy and assuming everything's good is more profitable in the long run, like by far.
So, what do you think separates the authors who stick around and grow that long term mindset versus those that burn out and lose it? Like, what is the difference between those two types of authors that you see?
I think some people, with some people, it's about community. It's about surrounding themselves with good community, which is why we have ad school, which is why we have had the challenges and still have the challenges in a different form. It's why we have groundbreakers and the other groups that we have, so that positive energy is being shared with other people so that you're not stuck in the vacuum. So I do think community is a factor, and community can work in the negative way too, right? If you surround yourself with negative people, people who say it's never going to work out, people who, even if you are successful, will crap all over you, then the opposite's going to happen. I do think that a lot of it has to do with working with your personality and who you are. Like, you guys know I'm a big fan of Claire Taylor and the Enneagram, and she has the different personality types, but it's not like, oh, Enneagram 7s are always positive, so they always continue on, but Enneagram 4s are having identity crises, so they never make it. It's like, no, it's like, if you can be at the healthy level within that Enneagram type, you can usually continue onward in your career. So a lot of it comes down to, are you working on yourself on a daily basis, or are you just like letting that fly in the wind and hope that you end up okay? Usually the people who are at least working on themselves a little bit are able to continue on, even if they don't necessarily have the community piece. If you have a little bit of both, so much the better.
Yeah. I love that kind of knowing yourself and identity, because Angela and I have switched genres, and for me, couple pen names, all the things to find out like what really suits and gets me excited to write. And I think the hard thing in this industry specifically, being an author, is it takes time to write books. It takes time to know which experience really suits you. And that's what can be the most frustrating part, right? So I don't know. I've learned over my iterations that it's just given me more skill sets and building blocks to get where I am today, which I feel great about. So I just find, though, in talking to a brand new author, it's kind of tough because they're bright eyed and bushy tailed. And I remember those days too. But at the same time, you're like, you're going to go through some hills and valleys and be okay with that and just prepare for that. But yeah, I love that identity of self. That's really important.
And what you brought up, expectations are hard.
Yeah, they are.
If you set sky high expectations, they can be difficult to live up to. I think if you talk to the right people and you expect that, hey, you might have to write more than 3 books, or you might have to write more than 2 series to get there, then you have a much better expectation than if you, I don't know, see some ad that says, oh, you're going to go make $1 million.
I know.
On your first book. Then your expectations may be out of line with reality.
So true.
Yeah. I think that, circling back to the community and the group thing, I kind of, after a while, I had to leave the 20 books to 50K group. Not in an, like, not that there isn't positivity. I had such low self-esteem coming into this industry because I was a business manager, master's in organizational leadership and communication. We run 8 retail businesses, brick and mortar stores. So I came from that world, which helped me on the business side, but I felt so strongly that I wasn't supposed to be here and that I wasn't good enough that, when I'd have a sale, it was like the greatest thing on earth. And then when it didn't, it was like, I'm a failure. I had to overcome like feeling like I wasn't even supposed to be here, so that when I was in the 20 books group and people are like, I had 20 million page reads, I'd had such compare-itis
Yeah.
that so happy for those people. It's not that. I just couldn't, that's not where I am. And I kept thinking, God, if I'm not there, how can I get there? That feels overwhelming. I kind of had to step back from that Facebook group because I kept comparing my journey to theirs. And that's, I think, something that sophomore year authors do is they're like, well, why am I not like this person? And I should be doing this. And it's really you. It's really your path.
Right.
And I had to learn that painfully.
You're playing golf of one.
Right.
Yeah. And it's comparing somebody's middle to your beginning. And that's
Right.
hard. Because
Yeah.
I think a lot of authors feel like after book 1, it's their middle. And it's like, no, it's still the
No.
beginning. And these 20 million page reads people, more often than not, are in the middle of their journey. And it's so easy to look at where they're at and assume that you must have screwed up. But it's never the case. It's that you were playing completely different games.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Well, I'm writing completely different things. I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of it, those were romantasy, and I can't do that. So that's okay.
And that's okay. I can't do romantasy either. So it's totally okay.
I'm reading romantasy and I'm like, how? I can't do this. Well, and I'm too, my number one strength, Clifton's strength, is strategic. They're all
Me
thinking
too.
ones. So like fairy vampire romance, I'm like, I can't, there's too many teeth. I don't know. The logistics of sharing a household. Like I'm too logical. Like, it's just like, I can't go there. So I'm just staying in my lane and I'm finding my lane. But I think too, I was in some communities where as soon as anything changed in the world that felt stressful, they were like, we should just quit writing. We shouldn't write anymore. If the world's ending, just forget it. Stop. How can you keep writing when the A, B, and C is happening outside your door? And I'm like, well, okay, but I don't know.
Yeah,
I think you keep going. You don't
keep
quit.
going. And there are people who say 2025 is the worst for being an author it's ever been. Page reads are down, things are whatever. Yeah. And then there are people having their best year ever, their best year. I'm trying to get out of the habit of saying ever. Best year yet, best months yet. And both things can't be true, that it's the worst year for authors and that some authors are having their best year yet. It can't be true that it's the worst across the board and that everybody's losing if some people are winning. And I do think some of that is about the mindset. Some of that is about the community. And some of that is just readers are always out there. Right. And it's hard, but simple. The simple truth is that if you have a book that if you run ads to, or you run social media to, or you do whatever, and you can put out $1 or you can put out a certain amount of time and get more than that amount of money or more than that amount of time back, then if you keep doing that, you'll profit. And you can do it over and over again with multiple books and multiple things and multiple genres or multiple series. If you have a thing that you spend $1 on it and it makes $2, some people have made 6-figure careers on that, 7-figure careers on that concept. And it's really simple, but it's really hard. And that's where we lose people. We lose people in the hard, but a lot of people try to complicate it and they try to have 7 different marketing methods all at once, but it's really simple. The one thing will probably work the best. Another thing will probably work the second best. And after that, it's diminishing returns. So do that 1 or 2 things, keep writing, keep releasing, take care of yourself throughout.
Yeah. That's like the Bryan Cohen golden rule,
Exactly.
isn't it?
Exactly.
That should be the next book, The Golden Rule.
Yeah,
but
I like it.
It's interesting that you said that, because joining Groundbreakers, and I was in ad school before, but I like the coaching aspect. That really works for me. And I have a coach who's very no nonsense, and it's perfect for me.
Scarlett. We love
Oh, yes. We all love Scarlett. We always
And
love
I was
Scarlett.
like, okay, so I'm running these ads. And she's like, no, we need to do this first so we can see how, it's all you want to throw. It's like my Italian side, like Angela's. I want to throw the pasta and see what sticks, like as fast as possible. And it's really hard to wait and watch and see. And I don't always agree with everything either. So I'm like, but when I know what I know in my lane, I feel really strong about it. But since I don't know ads very well, I'm like, okay, let's talk. But I do know that, as Angela said earlier, it's not all about ads, right? It's about your email, your reader connection, your branding. It's so much more. It's a bigger umbrella than this one piece, right? So I was going to ask you, and one of my questions I kind of wrote down, because you get overwhelmed by this, most people do, kind of coming in, and mainly mid-stage authors, I would say, get even more kind of held back as to, well, where do I focus? So, and what can I get the most traction on the earliest? Is there one thing that you feel, once authors have several books kind of out there, where they should focus first?
Writing routine.
Writing routine. Okay.
I think that the marketing is going to come. I think that, yes, ads and email are important. Social media might play a role at some point.
Yeah.
But the problem is, someone will write their second book, their 4th book, and then there'll be a vacation, and then there'll be a thing, and then it takes them 7 to 12 months to get out the next book because they didn't have a locked-in writing routine. And I know, like, Becca Syme will listen to this maybe, and she'll be like, no, not everyone needs a writing routine. I'm like, I get it. But like, and I don't even think that it has to be a certain number of days per week, but certain number of days in a month where you're writing, where you're...
I'm seasonal.
Yeah.
I know it.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of people are. But like, having a plan by which, okay, I put out this book, and then here's how and when I start the next book. I think writing routine is really important. And I've noticed even in people who are doing quite well, like they sometimes need a little bit of movement in the, well, I write between this hour and this hour. I research between this hour and this hour. I think writing routine is pretty key. And I think having a writing routine and the ability to put more words out into the world is part of the marketing.
That's awesome. I love that.
Yeah, I write at night, which sometimes is hard because I can't take part in some of the group things.
Sure.
Just because when it's like 9 o'clock, the dogs are asleep, the husband's asleep, I can't procrastinate by like doing chores and making noise. So I really have to sit there, because even in the morning, everyone's up and there's just chaos, and then the emails start coming in. But at night, like, everything's quiet. So, but I don't always write. I started to feel guilty about that, but I think it's even just showing up for yourself. And that was we had a whole podcast on this, like showing up for yourself, even when you don't want to. Sitting in this chair at my office hours and saying, I'm going to do one thing. I don't want to do anything, but I'm going to do one thing tonight. Even just the smallest thing is still counts as like showing up for your career. You're making this work, and I do it. I mean, 362 days of the year. I've been in the chair at 9 p.m. doing my work. But it took a while to find that because I was like, I don't know how to organize even my office. But I
Yeah.
think I had to take it seriously and realize, okay, I can't just like write whenever,
Yeah.
I had to like make it and say, this is what I want to do now. This is my career, even though I'm not considered a full-time writer.
But that doesn't matter. That like career, full-time, part-time, whatever. What matters is, okay, I'm putting in the words every week. I'm putting in the marketing every week. You're an author and that's what you do.
Yeah.
And so I think it's awesome. It doesn't matter what you'd classify yourself as or what other people would classify you as. It just matters that, okay, this is the work I do every week. And if I keep it up, eventually good things will happen.
Yeah. And tell us a little bit about how your journey, because was your start exactly being an author? Or what came first? Was it the chicken or the egg? Were you doing more, tell us a little bit about your exact journey leading up to all these other services and giving back so much to other authors.
Yeah, well, thank you. I was always in with teaching. I always liked teaching, and I liked comedy and I liked writing. And so it all kind of mixed together. I was doing a blog where I was doing these writing prompts for writers, and I was doing some teaching on that blog. And then I decided, oh, let's put that into a book. And then I was selling the book and it did really well. It sold like 20,000 plus copies. And these were the early days of self-publishing. It wasn't even called KDP yet. It was like Amazon Publishing Services. And so I started selling that book, and I loved just like the idea of the indie author community, and I really wanted to be a part of it, but I could see that there were people struggling. So I was like looking for opportunities for people to connect. I connected with Jim Kukral, who was the original co-host of the Sell More Book Show, and we started a podcast together, Sell More Book Show, back in 2014. Crazy that that's been going so long, but I loved just gathering more and more information. I'm a big fan of like learn and then teach. And so I learned so much from the other people around me. I was out there teaching it. We started with the book description service because I used to be a copywriter, and I wrote thousands of articles for like Ghost wrote for CEOs, all this random stuff in my 20s and early 30s. And it's like, I can spin this, and I got the idea from a mastermind group I was in. So yay community, and put that out there, and it, sold a lot of blurbs, but people were struggling with like, well, how do I use these blurbs and how do I know if they're doing better? And that's when I realized people need to know how many people have visited your page in order to figure out if something has gotten better, like a cover or a book description or the title. And that's where ads really came in. So I learned ads so that I could teach the ads, learn and then teach. And that has really just like opened so many different doors, so many people who learned from those early days at Author Ad School. They've gone on to become full-timers. They've gone on to make a lot of money. We went on to do more coaching of people who wanted to keep going. We went on to run ads for people who wanted to keep going. And it's crazy to think that right now, all these things are happening all at once. People might read an email that I send out for free. People might join one of our challenges for, the cost of 2 lattes. They might join our course and take that for 3 to 12 months. They might join Groundbreakers and be in there for 6 months or longer and get hands-on coaching. They might graduate to working with me in my group, Pathfinders. They might be making 10 grand a month and want us to run their ads for them. all those things are actually happening all at once right now, which is insane.
Oh my God.
We have so many people on the team. We have so many people in various stages. Like we have probably right now, there's like 5 Zoom rooms going on with people in agency meetings or ad school coaching or groundbreakers, one-on-ones. Like it's all just happening, but it really started with the vision of like everyone in this community deserves support, whether they're just starting out or whether they're at the highest level. And I've been thinking a lot about this lately. It's like, if you want to be in a certain industry, and I know you guys have various business experiences outside of publishing, but if you want to be in a certain business, what is something that the other people don't do well? And for me, it was always, man, other people are really crappy at service.
Mhm.
And I was like, okay, well, what if we weren't crappy? What if someone always answered the emails? What if there was always someone there to answer a question? And that at points was hard because we were spending more on support than we were getting in on people joining courses. But it was like all meant as part of this bigger picture, and it all worked out, and there've been slip ups along the way, but we've helped a lot of people, and it's been pretty darn cool.
That's awesome.
Are you going to write your memoir soon?
I don't know. There's probably I hope there's a lot more to come. I have to do a part 1, part 2.
I know it could be a volume set. Yeah. Well, just the fact that you were in improv. I mean, I was a theater kid, but
nice.
I couldn't do improv. I had to like get into the character.
It's because of the thinking thing, you know, you mentioned earlier. It's tough to think in improv. You have to like kill that inner monologue. I like used to have an inner monologue. Improv made him go away.
But the piece about the ad school too and groundbreakers is that it makes ads a lot less scary because they're intimidating for a lot of people, because you're like, wait, I'm spending money and I'm not really already making money. And you know, that whole balance thing, it's a little hard to grasp. And hell, I jumped both feet in and I was like, I'm going to do audiobooks and I don't care. Right now, because I'm going long game and I'm just doing it. But what I wanted to ask you is, what's one mistake you often see in book blurbs or ad strategy that stops a great book from really finding its reader? Is there something that you've seen in terms of trend over the years?
I think it's about rushing. People rush the book blurb. They forget they even need one until the last second, and then they sprint through it, and it doesn't get the care that their book gets. So they have run-on sentences, and it kind of just makes the book sound boring. And so, but also with the ads, they rush. They're like, oh, well, this hasn't worked in 3 days, so I'm going to turn it off. And so I think a lot of it is about rushing. Patience is hard to come by, even for patient people. Patience is not easy. We live in a very, immediate gratification world, and a lot of things about books, even though, look, we aren't querying as much anymore. We aren't worried about some agent or some editor accepting us. And we think, great, well, that means we can get it done right away. Well, not always. We still have to be patient, and I get impatient a lot of the time too. And so it's important to come back to the patience.
I love that, because I am not a very patient person, but what was really interesting to me is I'm a Clifton Strengths girly. I have very high strategic and achiever. And one of the things when I launched this year a new pen name, I launched a series that was completed last summer. That killed me.
Oh yeah, that was
but it was awesome. And I was like, never again. I'm always going to be writing. In terms of never again would I not do it this way. I will always do it this way. I will always be writing for something well in the future as much as I can, because it gives it time to sit and gives you some patience on how these blurbs should go. And I have to tell you, it was so fun because I went to your blurb copy. And I was like, I feel pretty good about my blurbs, but I do know there could be tighter areas, but sometimes as a writer, you can't see the forest for the trees.
Yeah.
And I do think it's so helpful to have a coach or these opportunities in community for people to see it, you know, and point those things out. So I love that about patience, because it took me a long time to get there. And I was like, you know, it's not really that I'm not patient to hit publish as fast as I can.
Yeah.
It's building the strategy for the marketing, building it for when I'm ready to launch and have the bandwidth for that. Because by the time I'm finished with editing this book, I have the, you know, the wherewithal to do this other thing. So I really love that. That's such a great tool to think about.
And I get it. Like, the coaching aspect that you bring up, this is why you need a coach. And it's like,
Yeah.
everyone in the author world needs a coach, but they don't want it because they think they should be able to do it on their own. And it's like, why?
Yeah.
Why
Right.
should you be able to do it on your own? Because you've done, you know, other things on your own that you probably shouldn't have done on your own. It's like,
right.
Every high level achiever in the world, like Olympic athletes and business people, we think of them as like, oh, being self-made. It's like, no, usually they had a lot
They have
of people.
dietitians, trainers, like the whole gamut is behind them.
Yeah, exactly.
I do think that we put ourselves in our own silos when we think indie, and it really doesn't have to be. I love saying writing is a team sport, even though you're the only one writing the book. So yeah, I love that.
For authors who might be thinking about ad school, or so there's ad school maybe as a start, then Groundbreakers, then Pathfinders. I wondered if you could speak to that, but like, what if I'm listening and I'm like, well, I haven't even published a book yet. I have one and I'm editing it, but this probably isn't for me yet. I mean, is there a better time to start this process, or did you just, like, if you have the opportunity, just dive in?
I'm a big fan of jumping in. I used to say, like, oh, maybe don't run ads until you have a few books out. Dude, run ads on your first book. Because if you're planning on writing a 14-book series and book one is getting a sale 1 out of every 100 clicks or some other terrible conversion rate, 14 books isn't going to do it. And I would rather people get that, maybe a little bit of that rude awakening and see. Because I've seen, we've had some students in ad school, and I feel bad. Like, we tell them, look, that one book you wrote, you can put 100 different covers on it, give it, you know, put it in 10 different categories, do whatever. Write another book, because that one, you've gotten enough data. It doesn't sell. And you might need more cracks at it. Look, some of our biggest success stories in ad school and in coaching, they had their best success on their second series or their fifth series or their whatever. And they never gave up. But they were willing. They never gave up trying new things. They were willing to stop beating a dead horse.
I know that Angela and I, we're in similar communities, and we've had people who will tell us, oh, but I have to finish this series. And we're like, it's not selling. You hate it. Why are you continuing it? Like, pivot, regroup. I mean, do you think that the 100 people that read your book are like salivating for the next one? I don't know.
Yeah, and when people get emails, they're like,
it's tough.
Well, my fans want me to do this. And it's like, well, how many? Like 2? That's not going to be enough to make your career a success.
Yeah. It's really tough to hear, though. But I also think, but what a great building block, because now you've got a skill set, right? Of, okay, I know how to finish books. I know how to, you know, move into a series. I know how to do this. I know how to, you know, it's all transferable skills. But as authors, I don't think we see that.
Right.
You know,
it's hard
it's
to
really
see
difficult.
Yeah.
It's hard to see all that. I'm not going to give up on my series yet, only because I had my whole career too could just be serve as a warning for others, because I made so many mistakes.
Angela,
I put
that's
my
not
trust
true.
in so many. I put my trust in the wrong people sometimes, and because I didn't know what I didn't know. And so I waited to, like, from my first book in the series, my second one came out way too late. I'm going to put it on hold until I'm going to just try 3 and 4 and finish it up so that there's more read through. It's my joy project, gives me joy. So I still want to see that through, because for me, leaving that unfinished, it's my passion project. It's superheroes. It's everything I
Angela,
love.
you are allowed to have joy.
Yeah.
You are also open to all possibilities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could write another book after you write book 3 and then come back to book 4. Like you could create something different and not say never to finishing up
Right.
that series, but you're allowed, and this is a Becca Symism, you're allowed to say not yet.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And that can sometimes satisfy the the achievers and the strategics. It's just like not
I
yet.
know.
And
Well, I have
you're
competition
allowed.
in there too.
Oh,
Yeah.
me too. Me too. Not yet
It's
has been
competition
helpful for
against
me.
myself. Yeah. And that's when I said, I'm actually, the romance that I put out is outselling the first 2 superheroes. So what I'm going to focus on is I'm going to get out at least 6 to 8 romances. I've got them all outlined, and I'm going to publish those and finish like a complete romance, not a series where they're standalones in the same sort of siblings that get their own story. And then once those are rolling, I'm going to return to my passion project and get that, because I even think I'm all marketing to the same group of women. Mm-hmm. So in a certain age set. So I figured even if they like the romance, I read all kinds of genres. If I love someone's romance, I would pick up their superhero book. So I will relaunch those. And if they're still, after I put out 2 more books, not selling, then it's time to be like, let it go. But as we're wrapping up, I think the last question that I had for you is, because there's so many snake oil salesmen out there, and I'm so frustrated that I found ad school too late, because I had wasted so much money signing up for classes that promised me.
Yeah.
I signed up for a mastermind that was thousands of dollars, and the teacher quit halfway through and left us. Like, what's the one thing to protect ourselves from that? If you could go back in time and tell your past author self something that you learned painfully, what would that be? I guess that's a 2-part question.
Yeah, no, I'm happy to answer both parts. I mean, here's the tough thing for me. I'm a guy who's good at marketing. Some people are always going to think I'm a snake oil salesman because I'm a guy who's good at marketing. And even though I say things like, hey, this might not work, and, results not typical, and like, it's going to be hard work to do this, some people still will say scam on the Facebook ads or whatever. And it's just like, you learn to become, more, resistant to those kind of people, to those kind of things. But that's the thing, that's one of the hard parts, is that some people think everything is a scam.
Sure.
And so that can make it hard to stand out and to show people that we're real, it's happening. And in the age of people even being faking testimonials and faking humans and faking all sorts of things, it's scary and it's crazy out there. But I do think that look for people who continue to try to do the right thing over and over again. And it's hard to find, it's hard to get enough information to know that, but people who just try to do the right thing over and over again, that's where I would look next. And then for your second part, I think that the big thing is for knowing thing you would tell your past self is you didn't do anything wrong. You did the best you could with the information that you had, and you have new information now, and you're getting more information all the time. And if you keep working with new information and you keep making good decisions one after the other, eventually you will see forward progress.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
I love
right,
that.
done. Then there's nothing else. Okay. I mean,
I
I'm
know.
going to be a star.
What the perfect ending.
That's
Exactly.
it. I'm going to
Exactly.
I can embroider that on a throw pillow and that's it.
That's all you need. Yeah. That is all
Bryan
you
Cohen's
need for
Golden
sure.
Rule. I swear.
Yeah.
I want to mention. That's a good title.
Okay. I'll let you know. 10%. Awesome.
All right.
Awesome.
Well, I think, yes, this was such a great discussion and it's helpful. And I know that there's going to be a listener who's just so discouraged that's going to be like, yes, I'm going to keep going. And that's our goal. Keep going, keep writing, keep doing. That's how we sign off.
Keep trying
What
new
we have
things.
to,
Yeah.
yes, keep trying new things. What we have to do is table topics. Okay. This is an interesting one. I have an immediate answer, as I always do. What stereotypes of your minority group do you actually fit? Is there a stereotype?
Wait, what stereotypes?
What stereotype about your minority group actually is accurate about you?
Oh, this
So,
could get
a
dicey.
I know. A stereotype about women is that we're bad drivers. All right, I'll go first and let you two think. I'm Italian, and so I absolutely talk with my hands. Everyone thinks when we're just like talking or yelling, and we're not yelling, that's actually just normally how we converse. Sometimes I'm just shouting, and my husband's like, "Why are you yelling at me?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm just actually, nope." You know? So, I mean, those kinds of things, like 1,000%. I have to like watch my hands because sometimes I'm like talking and they're like, "What are you doing? Are you unscrewing a light bulb? What is your gestures don't even match what you're saying, Angela." And I'm like, "Oh, I didn't even know." So that's kind of a minority. And my husband might say I'm a bad driver, but I refuse to accept that. Not until I can see that. That's what we're talking about. Do you fit
Cassie, do you
into
want
a
to go
stereotype?
next, or?
All right. So, I'm from the South, and I just moved back into a log cabin as of this past weekend, which is crazy. And yeah, we have a lot of Southernisms that have double entendre meanings. And it was so funny because this weekend I blurted out something, and my oldest daughter, who's helping us move and stuff, she was like, "I think you just made up your own Southernism." And I'm like, "That's what it is to be in the South. Sometimes a chicken just has to fly." And she was like, "What?" So, yeah, I would say, yeah, I fit right into that. And I'm a great driver.
I'm a good driver too.
I'm sure you guys are both great drivers. I would be comfortable getting into your cars. So
Okay, good.
see, I'll go with I'm a short person. I'm like 5'5" on a good day. Really, really 5'4", 5'4.5". And for the longest time, and nobody tells you anything when you're growing up. Nobody tells you anything. Like, I just thought in like middle school and high school, when I was like trying to get dates and whatnot, I just thought like people didn't like me for my personality or something. Nobody's told me like, "Oh, girls don't like short people." Like, why do I find this out when I'm like 30 and married? I'm like, "Oh, well, okay, well that makes more sense now." But like, as a short person, you just kind of like get used to your world of like, oh, well, I can get things from down here, or I can walk around and do all of this, and like I'm kind of in between really, really tall people. But like I think the fun thing about being short is just I don't feel short to myself. And so
Right.
like I just feel like, no, I'm good. And if I have a tall person that's hugging me, like I'm reaching up, like I'm as tall as them. And it's just like, and I don't know what stereotype I necessarily fit, but I definitely have a
Well,
low,
there's a
I have,
short person syndrome.
oh,
Short
okay.
person syndrome is that you can be kind of crabby
And
because
bossy,
that's,
Oh,
like
so,
a
yeah,
well,
Napoleon.
bossy.
I don't fit. Bossy maybe, but at least I do it in a nice way. I think I do it. I
We're
like
not saying that
being the boss. I like being in charge. So if there's that part of Napoleon syndrome comes to me, then maybe. But I would say I do it in a non-aristocratic, non-conquering way.
It's
I
like
love it.
you're a perfect Bryan. You're just a perfect Bryan.
Aw.
That's how we sell it. He's
I'll
a
take
perfect
it.
Bryan. Doesn't matter.
I'll take it. Thank you. Thank you,
I love it.
guys.
Okay, we're not, as a disclaimer, we're not condoning these stereotypes or
Yeah.
trying to say we agree with them. They just are out there. Anyway, thank you, Bryan, for joining us today. Thank you,
Yeah.
listeners. Don't forget to give us a review and rating wherever you listen to the podcast. It really helps us with visibility. Next week, I'm going to lead a discussion about how to reach out to indie bookstores, how to get your paperback out there, some merchandising tips, just because we always focus on the online piece of the selling, but there's a whole other world out there selling in person and hand events. So tune in for that. And till then, keep writing, keep doing. We'll see ya.
Thanks for joining today's episode of The Author Next Door. Be sure to like, follow, and tell us your thoughts of this week's episode. Angela and Cassie would love to hear from you.